Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. I just wanted to quickly jump on here and give my 2 cents in regards to the recent ceremony over in Los Angeles where Batman got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Now, if you don't know, when it comes to these things, they are not handed out. You have to apply from them, like when celebrities do so. It's usually out of their own pocket or their team's pocket to be organized, paid for, and for the upkeep as well. And obviously, Warner Brothers have organized all this, paid for it for Batman to get his start on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And several hours ago, the ceremony happened, and a lot of people are wondering / having a go at the particular Batsuit that was worn by the performer / actor for the ceremony. A lot of people were also wondering why the previous Batman actors didn't come out. I mean, we did have Burt Ward there who played Robin in the 1966 Batman show alongside Adam West. But in terms of the Batsuit, it's a very lackluster Batsuit. But at the same time, a lot of people are wondering why, say, an Affleck suit wasn't being used, a Pattinson, a Kilmer, a Bale, anything like that. And I just wanted to jump on here and explain why. Some people may know, but for those who don't, hopefully you get something out of this. And I also want to share my experience with similar situations that have happened. And this is not a slight, a dig at all at Warner Brothers or any of the studios. It's unfortunately the way of life when it comes to this particular subject. And it basically comes down to legal. It's the legal side, it's the corporate side of Warner Brothers, not just Warner Brothers. Disney itself are very protective of their IPs, their intellectual properties. So much so, they usually have an entire department in their legal area, whether it be Disney or Warner Brothers, that purely just oversee the looks of their IPs, where those looks are being used. Now, we look at this particular suit worn by this particular actor, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty jealous of this gear. Like, this actor must have been on cloud 9, being part of the Batman ceremony. They also had Jim Lee there, which is really cool. And like I said, Burt Ward. It would have been cool to have previous Batman actors. But if we take a look at this suit, this is the new 52 inspired suit. And again, this is not a dig. I'm not attacking. We are not attacking the artisans that have crafted these costumes. But to me, it seems like it sounds very old school of me to say this. They don't make them like they used to. Now, the reason why they are using this suit, like I said, it comes down to legal, and it comes down to what is hot at the moment, what is on their current roster. So you're obviously not going to see a Batfleck costume because Affleck is no longer Batman and part of the DCU. The DCEU is no more. We now have James Gunn's DCU. In terms of seeing a Pattinson suit at the ceremony, they're not going to start filming the Batman Part 2 until at least March next year. And then from memory, the film comes out in 2026. So that is way off. At the moment, we have New 52 and the animated series, the kiddie shows that revolve around Batman. So as far as I know, this particular suit is used in Six Flags. It's also used up at Warner Brothers Movie World up on the Gold Coast here in Australia. So much so, they actually had that suit come down to Sydney last week when I did that campaign for Batman Day with my friend Zach and his wonderfully crafted custom 89 Batmobile. They actually had to have an actor in that particular suit because it was all legally approved. But at the same time, they had to photograph the suit in a way where you didn't see all of it. So it was kind of subjective and suggestive in terms of what type of Batsuit it was. And in terms of my experience, it can be very frustrating. So frustrating. And people who aren't cosplayers, but to see this at face value, even know right off the bat, get it? Why didn't they use a movie quality suit? And again, it just goes back to the legal department of WB. Whatever is in the current roster, that's what they have to go with. And I'm sure there are probably people in legal in Warner Bros. Or Disney who are like, why can't you just use something a bit better? But they have to be so protective of their IPs, and it's so frustrating. I'm one of those people where I'm like, yes, run and gun, let's do it. Let's use a Batsuit. There have been campaigns I've done with Warner Brothers where I wanted to wear a Batsuit, and they're like, you can't, you can't wear this particular one. We've got one ready to use. If I wanted to cosplay as Batman for that Batman Day gig I did a couple of weeks ago, I had to state that I was cosplaying as Batman and not Batman. Again, this is not a dig at WB at all. This is just my experience and obviously the rules that they have set in place to protect their IP/brand. Now, back in July, I had a gig up at Warner Brothers Movie World talking about Batsuits. It was an absolute dream come true. It was like a full circle moment because Dad took me up there when I was a kid and there's footage of me watching the Batman parade when Batman and Robin was hot at the moment, and those were the suits they were using, and those suits were good quality, man. Not just that, they had the Mr. Freeze armor, and then many years later they had the Batman Begins suit, which now and then they still use up at Movie World, which is quite interesting considering the Dark Knight franchise is done and dusted. Christopher Nolan's trilogy, it's all done, but now and then they'll still use that particular Batman Begins suit. It's been a while, but now they use predominantly that new 52 inspired suit. And I remember having a chat with the head of entertainment, you know, back and forth about how this is all going to work, the logistics, my involvement, fee, stuff like that. You know, you'd sort out all the business. And he was very cordial, very polite. He goes, look, the downside is you can't actually wear one of your bat suits. Because I wanted to wear Pirate Batman, you know, something a bit different. He goes, Warner Brothers legal won't allow it because that's like, they've never done that before. And I'm like, that's actually good because I don't feel like wearing a hot suit out in the sun at a theme park talking about bat suits. I'd rather just be comfortable, casual, Chris, and it worked out really well. But it was interesting at the same time, I could submit footage of my previous cosplay shoots and stuff like that, where I've collaborated with, you know, amazing videographers and photographers, and they use that as a sizzle reel, like up on the screen behind me. That was allowed, but to wear an actual bat suit was a no-no because obviously they have the actors and performers there who play Batman in the park and they don't want any confusion with the general public. And I understand that because if I was Pirate Batman walking around, a lot of the general public will be like, who, what the fuck happened to him? So I hope that kind of explains everything in terms of some people that were probably curious as to why they chose that particular suit. I think like on a whole, Warner Brothers worldwide, you know, whether it be in the States, in Australia, wherever, the UK, they all have to decide on one particular suit that they're going to distribute to Six Flags, Warner Brothers Movie World, just events and stuff like that. And who knows, when, you know, the second Pattinson film rolls around or another interpretation of Batman rolls around, The Brave and the Bold, they may go with, you know, a particular suit that is built for that. And also you got to keep in mind, these suits are a one size fits all for certain actors. Like it has to be very generic with its size because different actors get into those suits with different shifts at different theme parks and stuff like that. I mean, case in point, with how protective WB can be of their image, I remember I was up for a gig for WB for one of their IPs from one of their film franchises. And I was keen to do it. I was interested. I'm like, hell yeah. And I eventually didn't get the gig. I later found out it was the reason why I didn't get the gig is because they went to my Instagram and saw a few of my recent posts of me as the Phantom holding guns. And they're like, we don't like that. He's holding guns and we don't want him for this particular gig. And I was kind of flabbergasted. And I'm going to use a word that I don't want it to be, you know, triggering for anyone. You got to be very careful with stuff like that these days. But I'm like, guys, you have 2 films in your roster that have the word suicide in it. And they have guns in it. What's the measuring stick here? And again, you can think about it till the cows come home, but at the end of the day, it's a business side, it's a legal side, and you just got to roll with it. And at the same time, like, I'm beyond grateful to get these gigs. But there are some times where, you know, you want to flaunt a Batsuit that you've built or people have helped build, and obviously that can't happen because that's not their representation of a Batsuit and a particular Batman. And they get it. They're like, look, we get it. You know, cosplayers, artisans, you work your asses off, but at the same time, we have an IP to protect. I'm one of those people where I'm like, screw the system, man. But that's not going to pay your bills at the end of the day. Anyway, love you guts, and I'll catch you in the next one.